This series is going to be about how I fight in hotspots. I'm going to cover general strategy, rotations, mistakes, and audio, so you can learn through me instead of dying hundreds of raids yourself. There's a prerequisite to these strategy videos. You have to understand how vertical audio works, and most content creators have it wrong, so check this video out, then come back to me. Shoreline Resort is what I'm going to be covering this episode. Let's take a quick look at the layout. We have West Wing, East Wing, and Admin. Generally, West and East are where most of your fights are going to be, so let's cover them both and touch on Admin a bit later. I'm going to call these staircases Edge because they're at the edge of the building. This staircase is Mid because it's between the two staircases, and the big staircase is Square because it's a square. West Wing and East Wing, despite having a similar layout, actually plays very differently. You want to maintain your right hand peak, and with the two buildings being mirror images, it means your advantageous angles will be the opposite in each wing. Take Edge for example. When I peek East Edge, I have a left hand, which is what you want to avoid. And when I peek West Edge, I have a right hand. This makes fighting from East Edge more dangerous than West. To create a right hand peek, I'll have to jump across the hallway. The jump itself is pretty safe. It's a hard shot to hit, but it's very difficult to fall back being on the opposite side of the staircase. You could get trapped if you're forced to fall into the rooms. The last thing you want to do is get trapped in a room. Take this instance for example. I don't know what swept over me, but I decided to cross the hallway and trap myself in a room with a left hand peek. I have no escape if they nade, and if they peek, they have a long right hand angle. They'll be able to see my elbow long before I can see them. So I had no choice but to push out, and obviously the fight is now stacked against me. If I never crossed over and just played from the staircase, I'd be able to peek, fight, or retreat safely. That being said, not all rooms are death traps. Many on the upper floors have a balcony you can hop off from. Despite snapping your legs, hopping off a balcony is actually a very strong way to escape, as they cannot jump after you because a falling target is the easiest kill. So if you want to avoid being trapped, how and where should we be fighting? Most of your fights are either going to be you getting caught in the hallway section with opponents near a staircase, or vice versa with you approaching them from the staircase. Because getting peeked while you're in the hallway is a death sentence, starting a fight with you coming from the staircase gives you the option to fall back or rotate. Due to how vertical audio works, as a solo when I catch people in the halls, I always try to rotate from below them. If they're hiding in a room, you can space yourself so that they won't be able to hear you rotate through the floor below. If you do this, you can give the illusion of a multi-person squad cornering them. This gives you the added benefit of acquiring information because you can hear a lot more from the floor above you. So you can have a better guess of how many players there are and whether they're healing, reloading, or looting. Here's the clip demonstrating how I rotate and how to take advantage of audio. After getting shot at, I understand that the angle is left hand peek. Jumping on the box is an option, but it's too late for that because they could be pre-aimed. That box would be a good option if it had the element of surprise. I immediately drop a floor below so I can find a route to flank. Being below my opponents makes it so that they can't hear me. I do some run-bys to clear the hallway, but someone could be in any of the rooms. Knowing this, I drop basement, so I'll have audio advantage again, and I can listen for anyone hiding in the rooms. I stick to the right side here because if they wanted to peek down the hallway with a right hand peek from their perspective, they'll be in the rooms to my right. That was just the usual ducking in and out of cover. I don't really talk about this in the video because it's pretty common sense. Work on this if you have troubles with it. Ignore my strobe light here, that's something for another video. I have a left hand on this guy, so it's not a fight I really want to take. I know he's hurt from the initial engagement, so he doesn't want to peek. I take my time to patch up and prep an escape. To mix up my opponent, I sprint at the wall every now and then to do a fake runaway. If they peek because of this audio cue and see nothing, then they won't peek the next time they hear it, which would mean I get to reposition. Taking angles here is fine because I know there's nobody holding me down the hall. I shoot a bit from the angle and I immediately leave, so I can try to trick him into thinking I'm still there. From their audio perspective, my footsteps appear on their right out of thin air. And because there's no gunfire from down the hall, it's safe to assume that this is my teammate and that I'm a duo. Once this is in their head, they have no choice but to sit in the room because they think it's a pincer. From here on out, I get to do whatever I want, and they'll be too scared to leave the room. I'm not 100% confident on which room they're hiding in, so I go up to third, trapping their only escape, and I wait for an audio cue. Being prone from my position allows me to listen below. If you're not prone, you won't be able to hear what you're about to hear. You want to apply pressure to box your opponents in. For example, if your enemies are in the long haul, you'll be going from edge to mid or square. You choose square if you think they have mid control, and mid if they don't because it's a shorter distance. If all your opponents are around the mid area, you want to avoid going to edge. Because it's a longer rotate, you might lose pressure and give up map control. Some things you should watch out for when entering through a staircase. Square is difficult to attack because you have to clear these long angles while you go up. Mid is difficult to exit because on exit it's a 50-50 crossfire. When it comes to edge, you don't really have a choice because there's no second staircase. So pick depending on the position of your opponents and your own audio cues. If you have to loot or grab a quest item, just key whatever room, do what you want to do, and sprint to the nearest staircase. You want to spend as little time as possible in the halls. You don't want to be this guy. Instead of taking his loot and dipping, he starts eating. can't go full aggressive on this guy because I'm running a leg medic hitter. For all I know, they could be in a position where they can hide their legs while wearing a face shield. That's a guaranteed loss for me. Earlier, someone was fighting a scav, so just in case there's a second player across, I go below to get some info. I walk here so my own sprinting won't cover up my audio. And I spray directly below him to mess around with him a little. I hear nothing and I see nothing, so we can just skip this part. Seeing how this scav is alive, I gambled that whoever was fighting it is now hiding in admin. So I push up down the hallway. I honestly can't tell if they're pre-firing or there's huge server desync. I guess if it is desync, I'm getting heavens defying luck here. If you hear heaving like this, it means you blacked out something and they're not pain killed. I can go aggressive now. Whether they're hiding their legs or they're wearing ultin, it doesn't matter because their HP pool is low enough. If you notice, when I fight in Resort, I try my hardest to stay mobile. And the best way to avoid getting caught is to implement these holes for quick rotates. Not only can you use them to reposition, if you drop through a hole after you break a line of sight, from your opponent's perspective it's almost like you disappeared from existence, because the moment you drop through a hole, your audio cuts out from their perspective. You can also utilize the windows on bridge as a drop down, either as an escape or a flank.
Okay, dropping hole.
Dropping. Got him, dead.
Nice.
The most sought after room is West Wing 301. This room has the highest average value containing LEDX valuables and GPU spawns. If you don't have the best spawn to loot and scoot, it's very likely geared chads will come to check the room. So this is a great way to get out and flank from square stairs. It's probably one of the only window jumps where you don't have to snap your legs. When it comes to admin, I try my best to avoid it completely, as there are too many rat corners and 50-50s to fight through. If you have to fight admin, apply the same concept as before. Control basement and first floor because the lower floors are where you'll have an audio advantage. There are 2 drop holes and 1 jump out you have to watch out for. You'll hear them run towards these if you're on the floor below. Applying the things in this video to fit your playstyle is how you can survive and potentially wipe Resort. Be quick. If you can think and execute fast, you'll be able to force your opponents into a corner. If I'm aggressing, my aggression is fast. If I'm defending, I take positional advantage fast. Forcing other players into playing your game is how you can gain the upper hand in Resort. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to sub, bell, like, comment. You can find me on Twitch here. Tune in for the next episode, which will either be custom storms or crack house. I haven't decided yet.